You wouldn't take Tom Brady off the field to be a quarterback coach or a head coach, but we do this all the time with our top salesperson.
All the time.
You're pretty good at sales, and why don't you lead all the other salespeople?
That way, everyone else will be at the top of the game too. People forget that because sales is a soft skill with talking, you can't just tell someone else what you do and then they learn it. The learning and the teaching and the managing skill side is its own ability. Tom Brady being the head coach doesn't mean every quarterback under him is going to be as good as Tom Brady. The skill set to be able to do that, it's too nuanced to just talk it and explain it. So that's why we're trying to provide a tool that can automate around it and kind of free up the human capital side to be able to focus on where they actually are meant to be, rather than just promoting people who should be still be in sales. Welcome to the Close More Sales podcast. On today's episode, we're doing something a little bit different. I was on the Disruptors podcast with Steve Trang, who I work with just a moment ago, and I wanted to share that with my audience. So you'll have to forgive me, my voice is completely shot. It's not from shouting at Steve, it's from having two little kids in daycare that keep me sick all the time. But this is an exciting episode talking about something very different from what I've ever talked about before on the show, which is how we are utilizing AI to train sales teams. And how you, if you are even an individual salesperson, we don't even say this on the podcast, if you are an individual salesperson at a company, you can probably find a use for the tool that we are launching. It is really, really powerful. AI is definitely going to be taking over the sales industry. And if you have sales conversations, or how well you speak determines how much money you can make, you're going to want to get better at what you do. And sales with AI infused is absolutely the future. And Steve Trang and I talk about what we have built and are building together to help salespeople, sales teams, and companies in general go ahead and crush by using our AI tool. So if this is something you're interested in, I'll just say it up front. Objection Proof AI is where you can try it out for free by uploading a transcript or a call, anything like that, text file. But listen to this podcast, listen to Steve Trang interview me as we talk about what we are building and how AI is absolutely the future in regards to business and sales.
You have been obsessed with AI for the last couple of years. I've been quietly judging every time I walk by your office. I don't know how quiet it is. You could probably tell I'm judging you. But you've been, in there in the den working on this. So you want to talk about your journey in the last few years using AI in sales?
Sure. And first off, yes, I couldn't tell because you just have a general judgy aura. So I just assume I'm being judged at all times. When ChatGPT finally added its paid feature that you could have a memory and you could teach it stuff, I started uploading not just every sales call and transcript of every sales call, but the sales trainings I was doing for clients and our internal team to have it start analyzing and breaking down what I was doing. And I kind of accidentally, there was no real plan at this, in uploading these transcripts, it started, as it developed more of a memory and ChatGPT got better, it started having a pretty good understanding of what was working based on the principles that we share and I believe in wholeheartedly, and we'll get very passionate about in regards to what is an effective sales call, what is effective sales conversation and close, what is real persuasion, that type of thing. And I started to get it to score my calls versus what I kind of wanted it to do. And that led over time to us starting to realize there was some value to this idea and what we've developed. Yeah. So I think I've put over 2,000 calls into it at this point, and it's gotten a lot of nuances out of it. I'm very excited with what we're developing right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, even people that have used it right now, like the free version of it, are blown away by the feedback they get from it. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. I have been looking at AI for the last few years, and I'm not saying it's a distraction, but I've been saying to myself, that's great for somebody else. Somebody else can figure out AI, and I'll just pay them. Yeah. Right? And I'll just pay them a good amount of money to solve our problems with AI. Because we had, there was this kid, William, he was trying to get on the podcast. This is before ChatGPT made big waves, right? Which was the end of 23. I think it was end of 23. But ChatGPT made some big waves, or maybe end of 22, I'm sorry. Made some big waves. But before that, this kid comes along and is like, hey, I've got a tool that can automate chat conversations, right? Like I can have it for direct mail. I can have it for your website, right? And it's like, that's cool. Like, let's figure something out, right? And so I start picking up the phone. I start calling, the big guys, the big names, like, hey, there's this tool. They can use AI. They can respond to text messages from your direct mail, from your website, this and that. And they're like, no. I said, well, why not? And they're saying, we spend hundreds of dollars every single time for the phone to ring. I'm not going to risk it on AI to screw it up. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the whole deal dies, right? And so ChatGPT comes along, and I think the attitude kind of changes.
Yeah.
And then, that was the end of 22. So then, because it was 23, where Rob Swanson, who owns FreedomSoft, like wildly successful software company, he gives this big presentation on like how AI is going to affect our business. And it was mind blowing. Like I was like, I had no idea that anyone's thinking about any of these things. I was thinking, that's so cool. And I was thinking like, man, he's going to make so much freaking money. So he comes off the stage. It's like, Rob, great presentation. So like, how much is this done? So like, I can just pay you. He's like, oh, it's not done. Like we've started it. It's not done. I was like, oh, but then we agreed. Whoever's going to figure this out is just going to make a lot of freaking money. Right. And so we continued down this journey. And somewhere along the way, you and I were at Collective Genius, right? CG. You guys heard us talk about CG. And Stephanie Betters pulls me aside and starts talking to me. I was like, well, you know what? I'm not the one that's doing the AI stuff. Talk to Ian. So you want to enlighten us what that conversation was?
Yeah, Stephanie Betters brought up something really important, which is that much of AI's ability to be effective is based on the data you have that you can, and how good you are at training it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you guys have more data than other people in regards to, we've been doing Zoom calls for forever that have all been recorded and downloaded and can be transcribed and broken down. We have enough data. If we wanted to really go full throttle into the AI, we'd probably have a huge head start, and it's kind of an arms race right now. And she brought that up like, you should do something with this.
Mm-hmm. So she does that. And then a couple of days later, Casey Ryan pulls me aside. I'm sorry, not Casey Ryan. Brad Chandler pulls me aside. Like we're sitting together.
It was that night, actually, to be clear. It wasn't a couple of days later. This was like, everything was at once.
So Brad Chandler, I'm sitting next to him in the far corner of the room, and he's like, hey, I got a problem I'm hoping you can help me with. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Great. He's like, how do I know my new salesperson is ready for leads, live leads now?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if you can create a tool where we can assess that my guys are actually ready right now for live leads versus like, the traditional, like, hey, just go cold call all the dead leads, right? It's like, you're ready for live leads now. It's like, okay, 2 people, we've got something here, right? And then later on by the pool, Casey Ryan, who's also like all 3 of these been in the show, right? Stephanie Butters, the left main. They're building 200 plus houses a year, and they have the biggest CRM in real estate.
Yep.
Brad Chandler doing 200-300 houses a year in the DC, Maryland area, right? No small feat. And then Casey Ryan in Vegas, who runs one of the most profitable wholesaling companies in the country, with like him and a couple of people, is insane.
Yeah.
Right. The guy's super smart. And he says, hey, Steve, what you should create is a tool that automatically reviews every single sales call and automatically scores it and reviews it and gives suggestions. That's like, okay, 3 people have said, Steve, you and Ian need to make this. Like, maybe there's something.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, when I started this podcast, it wasn't like I'm going to be a sales trainer one day. Like starting the podcast, being a sales trainer, those are 2 drastically disconnected concepts. But in getting authority, getting a reputation, and then start talking about it, having so many people say, Steve, can you train me and my team? It's like, hey, we have something here.
Yeah.
Right? We should do something here. Well, it's the same thing here with this AI. So naturally, right, after 3 different people talk about this, I go back to you. Say, hey, Ian, you know that whole thing you've been working on that I've been quietly judging you on? We should incorporate that, right? So you want to talk about that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking for a while that we don't feel threats to us and our business really come too much from competitive sales trainers in the space. It's really changing markets. Like it's going to be can AI replace us?
Yeah.
And it'll be 80% as good, but if it's a fraction of the cost, a lot of business owners will make that change, and that will hurt our revenue pretty drastically.
Yeah.
We've been aware of this for a while, and I've been thinking about this like, man, excuse me. I hope we could figure out something in the meantime. We either get some type of exit or maybe we take someone on who can do something with AI. Boy, that would be great.
Yeah.
The fact that we're doing it now, excuse me, I'm allergic to AI apparently. Hold on. Get 2 young kids in daycare is a tough thing for the nervous system. So when we had the conversation around like, can we do something with this? It was like, there's too much opportunity here. And the reason I've really had a lot of fun playing with this tool, like making sure it understood everything for years now, but I didn't think we could pay someone anytime soon to actually connect the dots. And the fact that you have a background in engineering and are putting a lot of time to this, it just became clear, hey, maybe we should actually do this.
Yeah.
Like, can we actually do this now?
Yeah, and I think the part here about we had our annual meeting, and prior to our annual meeting, previous quarterly meetings, or quarterly strategic meetings, and we do our SWOT analysis for every quarterly and every annual. And the threat for, I don't know, I think over a year, I think even when Jaden was still here, was like, what's the biggest threat? It's like AI.
AI for sure.
Right? And the point I want to say was either Q3 or Q4 of last year or Q1 of this year. The point I made was that someone's going to come up with a tool that's maybe 80% as good as us. But if it's 80% as good as us, but it's 80% cheaper,
Yeah.
people aren't going to be paying us.
Yep.
That's just going to be good enough for everybody else. So it's really fortunate here that we're looking at maybe we're going to disrupt it, the whole sales industry with AI, hopefully. So, and I think one of the big things is that the AI conversation has been around multiple years, many years, right? And I think the same theme has been said over and over again. It's not going to be, is AI going to take our jobs? It's going to be like, are you going to use AI, or are you going to be working for somebody that's using AI?
Very true.
Like that's the way it's going to be. So it's like, should we do it? Should we not do it? It's like, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's whether you're ready for it. So let's talk about what's driving us crazy about traditional sales management, right? Why is there going to be a massive difference in companies that adopt quickly these principles and those that don't? Why will that be such a big difference?
Which principles in particular?
Applying AI to manage their teams.
One of the biggest challenges that I see time and time again in the sales space is that it's you know how hard it is to hire good salespeople. It's even harder to get a good sales manager. You talk to a lot of salespeople, whether they're okay or high performing. Bad is kind of all over the place, but for anywhere from like pretty good to high performing, very few of them have good experiences with managers.
Yeah.
You can get good high performing salespeople, but being a good sales manager is a really hard skill. And it's hard not just to hire for, it's hard for business owners to even understand what that role should be. So many people, time and time again, take their top performer, take them out of the field, off the phones, off the doors, whatever, out of the home, and put them in an office role to manage and lead people because they think leadership is communication, sales is communication. It's the same type of communication. They'll be great at it. The skills that make you a top performer are not the exact same skills at all that make a great manager, that make a great leader. And then you also just took out your main revenue driver because you took out your top performer. At the same time, taking someone from outside the company and putting them in can be difficult too, especially if you've got a well-established team that has a culture, that has performance, you've got a nuanced product or sales process, that people don't trust the manager. There's all these challenges that are true from small businesses to big companies.
Yeah.
If we can effectively make sure the management side is automated with great advice, full accountability with AI and scoring, and everything is recorded, everything is able to be siphoned through this process. Advice is able to be given to the individual as well as the manager, whether it's Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Sunday at 10 p.m., because it's a tool, it's not a person that can give advice whenever the person needs it. Sales is, in a way, competitive because if you sell anything at all where they could choose a competitor in some way, shape, or form, how good your sales team is matters. If your sales team can get better via sort of self-managing accountability with also training components where everything is monitored, that team is going to crush the teams that are not utilizing it. So I think there's a huge opportunity there.
And I think, what you were talking about is the Peter principle, right? Which is people peter out. We promote people to their level of incompetence. We keep promoting them until they get to a seat where they're incompetent and they start getting promoted, right?
Yeah,
That's the Peter
true.
principle.
Yeah.
And the analogy I use to best illustrate this is like, you wouldn't take Tom Brady off the field to be a quarterback coach or a head coach. But we do this all the time with our top salesperson.
All the time.
Right? Hey, you're pretty good at sales. Why don't you lead all the other salespeople?
Yeah, you're at the top of your game, Brad. Or what's his name? Tom. Tom, you're at the top of your game. We should have you be the head coach.
Yeah.
Like, what? That way everyone else will be at the top of the game too.
Yeah.
I bring this up all the time. People forget that because sales is a soft skill with talking, and there's the aspect of following a process, that it's not, you can't just tell someone else what you do and then they learn it. The learning and the teaching and the managing skill side is its own ability. And the same way you can't, Tom Brady being the head coach doesn't mean every quarterback under him is going to be as good as Tom Brady. The skill set to be able to do that, it's too nuanced to just trust as like, hey, you just talk it and explain it. So that's why we're trying to provide a tool that can automate around it and kind of free up the human capital side to be able to focus on things where they actually are meant to be, rather than just promoting people who should still be in sales.
So let's talk about role play, right?
Sure.
We're talking about managing a team. So I'm not aware of any organization that says role play is worthless, is not needed. I can't think of anyone. I know that a lot of organizations will triage and throw aside role play until later on when we have more time, right? Like if we're caught up on the leads, maybe we'll do role play. Like I look at role play in most organizations kind of like how I personally look at like my books, right? Year after year, I would say, hey, I'll do my QuickBooks on the weekend. And if something will come on the weekend, I'll just wait till next weekend. I'll just wait till next weekend. 9 months goes by before I actually open up QuickBooks.
Sure.
I think that's how most organizations look at role play.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just like, I'm the sales manager, like, hey, Ian, it's time to role play. That alone takes a little bit of energy, a little bit of exertion. Right. But then if on top of that, I have to role play with you as a sales manager, that's even more energy, right? Even more of a lift. And so it gets pretty aggravating. And maybe if the salespeople were completely cooperative, hey, Ian, it's time to role play. And you're like, all right, let's go. It's time to role play. Then it wouldn't be so bad. But it's like, hey, Ian, it's time to role play. You're like moaning, right? It's like telling your kids to clean their room. It becomes exhausting getting salespeople to role play.
Yeah.
So how are we going to be using role play here? I've got some big news, and you'll want to hear all of this because I'm going to give you the best bonus ever at the end of this video. You all know that I've been providing sales training for 6 years now, and I've had the opportunity to train hundreds of the best teams in the country and thousands of individuals as well. And they've all had wild success along the way, some of which you've even seen on this podcast. You also know Ian Ross, who has been coaching alongside me now for over 2 years. He's the biggest sales geek ever, and he's been training business owners and individual contributors ever since he started working here. He even runs the Close More Sales podcast. But we had a problem. There was a lot of confusion. What is it exactly that we sell here? Is it Disruptors training? Is it Steve Trang training? Or is it Close More Sales training? It's none of those. It is objection proof selling. Ian runs Objection Proof Selling for business owners and individuals. I run Objection Proof Selling for teams where I coach their entire team. And to celebrate the rebrand, I want to give you something that I never would have thought been possible until recently. We've been training this AI bot for over a year now to score all of our sales calls internally. Every call we run, we have the bot review the call to Ian and mine exact standards for sales. We run every one of our team members' calls through the same exact AI bot. And now we're giving it to you for free. This bot will review your calls based on dozens and dozens of metrics. It will tell you what you did well, what you can do better, again, by the standards of the objection-proof selling formula. And if you want to use our bot for free, just head over to our website, objectionproof.ai. Again, Objection Proof AI. I want to emphasize here, you're getting access to our bot, which allows you to get better at sales for free so that you can make even more money now without having to spend another dollar. Go check it out now.
We've got a role play bot that not only are we making sure that it can adjust depending on the personalities, and we're literally developing this right now. Like this is being developed as we are recording this. Can it have different personalities based on the disc profile? So high dominant, like medium I kind of thing, but also you can adjust depending on what the industry is, what objection you want to give it, what objection it wants to do, some variation there. But the AI tool will be able to not just role play effectively with a salesperson whenever they want to use it, but will also score that role play. Brad Chandler talked about, how do I know if a salesperson is ready? Like, how do I know if they're actually ready? Well, if you can have them role play with every personality type and every role play is scored, you can see, oh, they got above a certain score with all these personalities and overcame all the objections, they're ready. Like there can be some variation on performance in terms of I'm in a role play environment and I'm actually doing the sales call, but it should be relatively minimal in a good role play environment compared to the actually being on the sales call. It's a greater variation if you're role playing the way some companies do, which is just like, here's one line, give me your one canned response. That's a demonstrating memorizing rather than actually having the skill.
Yeah.
So as long as you're actually going towards the skill, I just think role play is the most underutilized tool in sales training because it's the closest you can get to show, don't tell, which is how most salespeople will actually learn the concept anyway.
Yeah.
And it's when they get better. It's like you get better from learning the concept through the role play. I always say all the time, like, I ask if anyone plays sports, they're like, oh yeah, I played whatever, basketball. Okay. Only time you ever shot free throws was when the game was on the line. Would you get better at free throws?
No.
When you get better at free throws, it's during practice.
Yeah.
Practice drills, that's when you get better. And so the game is easier. Like I love the Michael Jordan concept. Practice is hard, so the game is easy.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with a role play bot that can score every call, that can make sure it can give variations of the objection so salespeople can get better when revenue is not on the line for the company.
Yeah. And we have a client right now that's using it. I was talking to him earlier, and he's actually still using it. He's still using our role play bot. So our very first iteration that I created a few weeks ago, they're still using it every morning. Like that's awesome. But we're going to build a more robust one with multiple different personality types, multiple different situations.
Yeah.
As we feed more data into the system, we can have even a better role play. But one of the things I'm most excited about, there's two things I'm really excited about. One, having to ask a salesperson to role play takes energy, takes a little bit of like, oh, all right, Ian, let's go role play. Having AI just call your salespeople at 8:30 every single morning to role play.
Yeah.
That's the easy button, right? So the vision here is to have it call your people whatever time you set every single morning so that they're ready to go. But the other thing too is we're hiring salespeople right now, right? What we're missing at this exact moment, like I can't wait to have done, is like right now, if you want to work for us, you got to go to, you look at one of our ads, right? You go to disruptorsjobs.com and you fill it out and then you have to do the PI test, right? We're going to keep harassing you to take the PI test until you take the PI test. Now, instead of taking a whole day out of your schedule, my schedule, Ashley's schedule to interview this person, and then only to watch them fail the role play later on, is we're just going to have them role play with our bot. And when you role play with our bot, it's like, hey, is this person worthy of coming in to take Steve's time, Ian's time, and Ashley's time? Or let's just go ahead and disqualify on the role play before they even come into the office. So I'm super excited about that. And I look at, again, going back to technology, I had not a fax machine, but a fax number my entire career, right? Starting in 2007, I've been using, Ring Central as a fax machine, right? Still have it. I want to say the last time I actually received a fax, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, right? Actually received a fax at my number. It's only because banks like to fax like short sale paperwork. So looking at this, right? Like here's what we're going to be using role play to train our people. I think the people that aren't following along are going to be like the people that are still using fax machines, or like there was a lot of people that made a lot of money doing text blasting in 2018, 2019, 2020, and then, and further, but like 18 and 19 was a freaking land grab.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking at this, the people that aren't keeping up with this development, whether with us or with somebody else, is going to be like those people, like direct mail is back.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time, it's like, I am spending a lot of money on direct mail and no one's answering because everyone else was texting them before they actually picked up your postcard.
Yep.
That's kind of what I'm seeing here. And then there was a situation here, like we come back from CG, I'm going crazy with this. We build it out, right? And then we turn on our own internal AI review bot. And we're having lunch at Gus's world famous chicken. World famous. By the way, we're looking for sponsorships, Gus.
For sure, please.
It's the best fried chicken.
Yeah, we've been texting about like this is ruining fried chicken everywhere else for us.
The best fried chicken if you guys are in Phoenix. Anyway, we're having lunch at Gus's, and Ashley pulls out his phone and he's like, "Hey, our AI bot is up and running right now." I said, "Yeah, I told you this morning. Like, I turned it on. It's reviewing every single call now." And he looks at it and says, "Hey, so-and-so is saying these things on the call, right? Because it's calling out what it's not supposed to be doing." And I was thinking like, man, lunch the day of, he caught a mistake. Whereas, maybe we do our role play weekly. Not role play, call review weekly. Might be a week before we catch a mistake. If we do our call reviews monthly, might be a month before we catch that mistake. Or we don't do call reviews at all. Who knows when you catch that mistake?
Sure. I mean, also, is the salesperson submitting the call review? Are you picking it? Like, you're also only reviewing one call. There's the other aspect of the automation of every call. Like, it could have been a month. It could have been a week. It could have been 6 months. We might have not have known until we realized, like, why are we missing money that we should be having coming in based on what we've projected?
Yeah.
The idea of the AI tool having immediate feedback, catching a mistake so we could update our salesperson and be like, hey, reminder, you're not supposed to say that. Like, oh, yeah, that's right. And make adjustment day of. That is a mini version that we accidentally discovered to have a story about now internally that I'm sure we will hear more and more about, because like the idea of managers listening to every call, what calls to listen to, now we insert an accountability to every single aspect whenever someone picks up the phone. It's super powerful to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like I'm, mid-chicken, and I say like, hey, like message her right now.
Yeah.
Like we're not finishing lunch. And I'm generally not like a high urgency person.
No, I know.
Right? But I was like, that is unacceptable. Fix this now, like before lunch is over. And again, like kind of what you're saying, who knows when we're going to do the call reviews? But even let's say we do, like often a lot of businesses, they look at, like conversations, contacts, contracts, and this and that. And it's good, right? But those are more or less lagging indicators. They don't give you the visibility as to what was happening on that conversation. So it could take, they might be doing the numbers, but it might be weeks or months before you know what they're doing on the call. It's harming because they can pick up the phone, they can have conversations, but if they're not quality conversations, what's the point? So, and I think another component of that as well is that you can't, so we hired Larry Yatch years ago before you joined, right? Navy SEAL. If you guys haven't watched the episode,
it was right before I joined.
Yeah, like complete badass, right? Like the guy just loves shooting, right? So I remember he came into our organization and it completely transformed our company. And multiple people quit. Important people quit. And I was like, Larry, like, what's going on? I paid you a lot of money and like people are quitting. And he said, and I don't disagree with him. He's like, well, Steve, when you hired me, things were happening, but, there's kind of some shadows here, some shadows there. You can hide over there. Once you hired me, there was sunlight everywhere. There was nowhere safe to hide in your company. Like, actually, that kind of makes sense. Accountability increased.
True accountability.
Increased dramatically. now that we're reviewing the call on every single call, every call matters. If your guy's hungover on Monday mornings, like we're going to see a trend. Hey, this guy sucks on Mondays. We're going to have a conversation about that. But we can track every single call. And like, let's just say, for example, our average salesperson typically scores 75%. If the guy has 2 days in a row of 55%, wouldn't we want to know now versus again weeks later?
Just looking at the lagging indicators. Yeah.
Right? Like if the guy's, maybe he's had a major fight with his spouse. Maybe there's someone sick in the family, right? Maybe he's got some collections that he doesn't want to talk about. His headspace isn't right.
And also, like, there will be other tools that transcribe. You could always look through the transcription and figure out. Part of why I am so excited about what we are building with this Objection Proof AI tool in particular is because of the knowledge and nuance it has around what to look for to determine what actually is a successful call beyond simply did they get the sale. The problem with most sales tools that are built off of data is that a lot of salespeople get deals in spite of what they did, not because of it. As a result, it will take so much data for AI to effectively sort what should have been said and what shouldn't have been said. And it's hard. So I look at, you submit a transcript to ChatGPT or something, you will see how bad its advice is. And the reason for that is its advice is built not on ChatGPT, but on the data of how other people sell. And so it's defaulting to what I consider suboptimal practices. The ability for AI to not only catch things and have accountability, but then give advice around how to get the prospect to feel more emotionally certain, to give advice on how to take control sooner and more efficiently, at the same time as shedding a light on every single corner and putting a spotlight on every shadow is, in my opinion, one of the most, it's almost impossible to value at scale yet. Because when you actually see this in real companies with big teams, I think we're going to see some pretty profound transformations. It gives real advice on what to do differently and how to explore that, what went wrong. Like, I'll give you a quick example before we move on that just floored me. We had someone on our team who sold, and also our AI tool, everything we roll out, we are using internally. To be clear, there's nothing we roll out that is not being battle tested by our sales team and our process. So we actually use this. We don't make it for novelty. We make it for our use and then provide it to the rest of the world. We had a new salesperson who sold one of a sales training program. And that person ended up canceling.
And requesting a refund.
Like after, less than a week, basically. And I looked at that transcript or the call score within the AI scoring tool, and it had a pretty profound insight, which is it realized that our new salesperson had done an old habit of selling from his enthusiasm rather than the conviction of the prospect, because he didn't strategically hesitate and pull back and pull away to get them over the line. Excuse me. So that meant the AI realized there was a risk of cancellation. Like, it was not shocked. I basically asked the AI tool, would you be shocked to know that this lead canceled? Like, oh no, not shocked at all. Like, it made perfect sense to the AI that lead would cancel based on how they were sold.
Right.
Like, that is a pretty profound difference from just reading a transcript.
Right. Well, this is what you trained for over the last 2 years.
Yes.
Where it recognized, like, hey, there was too much enthusiasm on the salesperson's part that we risk losing a sale from when this person changes their mind because they were buying from the salesperson's enthusiasm versus their own conviction.
This is the nuance of what I've been teaching it for 2 years.
Yeah, right? Getting the prospect to sell themselves versus you selling the prospect.
Right.
Right? We don't convince, we get clients to sell themselves. And I think, there was something else I was going to add there. So we had Grant Jarvis, legacy home buyers in Dallas, Texas, right? Killer operation, killer organization. And I mean, he posted in the Collective Genius Facebook group a couple of days ago, which was basically like, his team can't wait to see the feedback, which is like, they're killing it.
Yeah.
When they can't wait to see the feedback, to see how they did, right? Because like the best people want to know how they're measuring.
Always. Yeah.
Right? They're not like resting on their laurels. Like, okay, what did I miss? Where can I get better? And so the fact that the entire team is waiting for the feedback, super excited about.
Well, there's two things about that, which is like, first off, it shows he's hired the right people, which demonstrates why they're having success in its own right. And the other level there is that the way it gives feedback is actually useful to people really doing this.
That are actually successful.
Not people who want to feel successful because ChatGPT told them, great close, you sounded really confident, or something ridiculous. It's actually giving accurate insights and data that they can use and want to see how it, like, what does it tell them? Like, how did I do? What could I have done differently? The fact that people who are really doing this and doing it at scale want to see this is a representation of how good it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So the title of the show, right? Building a self-managing team with AI. Now, building a self-managing sales team with AI. Now, we kind of touched on it a little bit. You want to explore a little bit further, like the different aspects of a self-managing team with AI?
There's some aspects of like what's available right now for what we're offering and what we're working on over the next couple of months to add of what I'm so excited about. To me, in thinking about a self-managing team, the two main PowerPoints that there, like the fuel of a self-managing team comes from the salespeople being accountable themselves and having a way to iterate and improve, and also guide to the manager to continually have an effective conversation with the salespeople so that they can keep getting the energy to improve and keep getting better and feel like entrepreneurs at a company instead of just salespeople trying to sell someone else's vision. Those are the two levers there. Is like the manager making sure they're having the right conversations and giving the right advice to the salespeople, and the salespeople actually having the ability to manage and control and get better on themselves. The AI tool combined with the scoring and the role playing and a dashboard we've added now for managers to be able to see every single category. I mean, and they're nuanced, like assertive versus aggressive, explaining versus stories, emotional control, all these things. The nuance of seeing how every salesperson is doing, and that gives them advice on how they're doing right now, how they're doing 7 days ago, how they're doing 30 days ago, and then a role play tool that the salesperson can then go work on, I think is the ultimate key to giving a manager advice, because I'm really excited to also update the role play, update the AI for the manager so that they can even send like, here's the last 30 days for this person. How should I help them get better? And the tool will tell them, tell them to role play with a high dominant personality who's got this type of objection and have them score over this on that time and try that 3 different ways. And if it can have that advice, there's an aspect, it becomes like easy mode for companies to be able to get salespeople to go from like okay to struggling to crushing. And those salespeople can feel like they are in control of their own journey to be able to do that.
Yeah. On top of all that, I'm a very hyper transparent person. Anyone watching the podcast, I think they can tell I'm a fairly transparent person. One of the other things we've incorporated is that we have our salesperson channel, right? We call it Millionaire Advocates. Every sale that happens goes into the Millionaire Advocates channel. Daily activities are recorded in the Millionaire Advocates channel. We also have another channel where every call review is there. So you can see how that guy is doing. That guy can see how you're doing. The amount of accountability, like group accountability that exists. And on top of that, now after you've done a sales call, you can go in there. It's like, well, I agree with this part. I could have done this better. Or, hey, this part doesn't make sense to me. Or, hey, I'm going to take this part and run it. I'm going to apply this moving forward. Now we got group accountability there as well. And then we kind of touched on this, but like the recruiting component, like, I don't know, this violates terms of service of LinkedIn. So if LinkedIn, if you're watching, don't pay attention to this, right? But, when we have our bot in there to start messaging people on LinkedIn to bring in more salespeople. Right? It's going to start messaging people on a daily basis in my account, right? So that we're going to use that to build our self-managing sales team, and again, using AI to role play with them to make sure that they're good, that we even want to interview with them. And then the last part is the follow-up sequence, right? The ability to follow up with all the prospects. Like one of the things I'm excited about, and this is getting super meta, so it doesn't apply to everybody, but we're going to be using our own AI bots to call people to sell them AI tools, right? It's getting super meta here, but we're going to get to a point where, not today, but at some point, some of the inside sales roles, we had Brad Bone here on before, using text to follow people. We're going to have texting and calling from AI, who's going to be, trained by you.
Yeah.
So
you were also talking about, in that accountability side, salespeople are very competitive with each other and like to get one up on each other. Oftentimes, I'm trying to get salespeople to focus on getting better at the process rather than just the result, because there is an aspect of the result that can be out of their control. In acquiring houses, be a title issue, the salesperson did everything right and something fell through, right? But if everyone can see everyone's score, and you can, you used to do this thing, which is that at the end of every week, whoever got the most no's got like a free lunch, which is an awesome thing that I'd love to brag about. There's another level there, which sales companies can do, which is like, hey, whoever has the highest score at the end of the week, whoever improves on this side, there's always who's ever the most improved from last week. You can make the game and the competition around actually having the call be better in a way that they can always control. There's no, hey, this was a bad lead. No matter how bad the lead is, the AI will account for that and still score appropriately.
Yeah.
Did you actually follow the process to do that? And so there's new ways you can incentivize salespeople, you can inspire salespeople, you can make salespeople hold each other accountable to improvement, to getting better, to trying to figure out what they could have done differently. When you have a team like that, if you've ever been a part of it, it is highly infectious and makes people want to learn and improve beyond the just sort of like money-hungry Wolf of Wall Street side. That is infectious in a really good way and can lead to incredible results for companies that use it. And I'm really hopeful we will basically let companies pay us a fee, we install the AI, and now they've got a tool to develop that internally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just imagine, right? Like we've got the 10 different aspects that we score on, which adds up to 100 points. Imagine the competition, not just on the sales side, but like on a dashboard, every salesperson logged in could see like, how am I doing versus Ian?
Yep.
Right. So like, for example, right now, I'm scoring higher than you for the year.
I would like to remind you, I'm going to cut you off right away because I'm very competitive about this. It's because it's including my sales training calls in that.
No, it's been removed.
I looked at it. There's no way that scores that's true. There's no way that's true.
So
it's absolutely not true.
It's 100% true. And
I remember it's absolutely not true.
And the reason why it's true is because I've only had one call, and it was a sale. And as a result of that, I'm not doing any more calls for the rest of the year.
Okay, fair enough.
We're just gonna leave that call in there. That's the new standard.
So that's the new standard. Is your ones? Hey,
1 for 1.
You got to be as good as Steve.
1 for 1. We're not gonna mess with the 100%. So let's talk about this completely transforms the management of sales teams, right? So what happens to everyone that's not adopting AI?
Oh man, to me, it's like it took like it's 100 years between the horse and buggy and the cars we have today, kind of thing. I think it's going to be 2 to 3 years between when a sales team that actually incorporates this and what they can do to revenue, to attracting top talent, to inspiring accountability, to scaling, all of those aspects. It's going to be horse and buggy inside of a couple of years versus cars.
Yeah.
I think this is the nature of technology means that getting left behind is left way far behind with how fast it goes. We're basically like the example you've given, which I think is so apt, is like the thought process of if you could go back in time to a medieval battle and you had a mounted M60 machine gun and everyone else had bow and arrow and chest plates. It's like, well, how well would you do? We're trying to give companies the nuclear codes while everyone else is playing with slingshots.
Yeah.
That is the goal here. And it's like, okay, they got slingshots. Here's the nuclear codes. What do you want to do? That's what I think it's going to look like far sooner than a couple of years.
Yeah, everyone's going to have superpowers, right? And I think another way to look at this is I've said this before, and like I don't mean to be discouraging when I say this, but if you're trying to start over from scratch, not from scratch, from zero today, right? Not to say it can't be done. It can 100% be done. We have people on the show all the time that started not that long ago.
Yeah.
But when I started, right, in like 2011, like there was no competition, right? Like whoever got in front of the homeowner pretty much got the deal.
Sure.
Right? And then we get to the point where there's some more competition. Now we're getting to the point, you look at Collective Genius, right? Everyone in there is not just good at sales. They've also got Salesforce.
Yeah.
So you're over here working with Podio, and there's nothing wrong with Podio. We got a lot of successful people with Podio, but you got Podio, and you got this guy over here with Salesforce, right? You got this guy over here who is like, I hope my team's getting to the lead in 5 minutes or less. You got this guy over here who knows his team's getting to the lead 3 minutes or less.
Yeah.
He knows it, right? We got this guy over here who's like, I hope we're answering 80% of the phone calls. We got this guy over here who knows he's answering 96% of the phone calls. What they're doing in regards to CRM, we're going to do with sales intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? Where like, hey, you hope your guys are setting expectations. You hope your guys are leading with emotions. You hope they're getting the prospects to sell themselves. Our clients know our sales team is doing this.
And they know how much they're doing it. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that it's going to get to a point now where like, if you don't incorporate this, it's going to be like running a company without a CRM.
Yeah.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's the most hopeful future.
I was talking to someone not long ago, and he had a solar company, and I asked him, I was like, what's the best way to tell you something pretty harsh? And he's like, just give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Getting permission so he wouldn't be too mad at me. And I called out that he was in hustler mode.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in business mode with what he was doing.
Yeah.
The companies that are going to be implementing this are businesses. If you're not in it, you're going to be stuck in the hustler Google sheet, keeping track of stuff mode, compared to an automated follow-up, an automated training, an automated scoring, all these aspects of automation that at scale is a roided out like bodybuilder compared to like someone who's just has 4-pound dumbbells at home.
Yeah.
And so it's almost incomprehensible to imagine trying to keep up with someone who's using this and using this effectively if you aren't.
Right. I mean, just think about like how quickly people would weed themselves out when you don't need to say, hey, Ian, what's going on? You're not following the process. Everyone can tell you're not following the process. Right. This group accountability is.
And let's paint a picture of it. Like, it's okay. You got 3 salespeople on one team and 3 salespeople on another team. We just gave that example of catching a mistake that the salesperson was using the day it happened rather than 3 months later, when we could have lost out on somewhere between 20 to 60,000 in revenue with that mistake consistently over 3 months per salesperson. What if everyone's doing it? What if I don't know? Over the course of knowing immediately and hoping we know in a couple months, what does that look like with 3 people, with 5 people, with 10 people? What does that look like over a year, over 5 years? The difference in revenue from catching mistakes and accountability immediately to hoping I know and hoping the advice is there is massive. And if just that difference is reinvested back in the business, which business is going to win? It's just, it's such a no-brainer. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's such a really unfair advantage. And again, it goes back to like when we were talking about texting, right? Like Lead Sherpa, right? Jason, I forget his last name at the moment, but he came out with Lead Sherpa, Jason Nickel. And anyone that was using Lead Sherpa in 2018, which is gaining massive market share. And anyone that wasn't was just wondering what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Right. Or we got, Doug Hopkins, he's in our market, right? Like he's doing anywhere between 50 and 120 transactions a month. Crazy numbers, right? But what's his competitive advantage? Like he's on TV, he's got a brand. That is such a competitive advantage. How do you even compete against that, right? That's what we're talking about here. If you don't do this, you're kind of choosing to, what's the expression, that go the way of the dodo bird?
A little bit, yeah.
Right? And not to say it can't be done. It's just you're going to have to hustle really hard. Like we have, you can have a team of VAs that goes pretty well. But then you got a team of VAs and a team of AI, or just a team of AI. It's just, you can't compete with this, particularly if it's working nonstop.
We can all only row so hard any given day. So it's like, which boat do you want to be in? It's just that. It's like,
Right.
which one is going to get you there harder? If you're rowing as hard as you are, which is going to get you farther?
Yeah. And then, so let's talk about, practicality, implementation, right? So when someone decides they don't want to be left behind, how quickly can they build a sub-managing team and start closing that competitive? How quickly can they actually apply this?
It's hard to give exact advice because it depends on the size of the team and how bad they are. But the whole nature of it being an AI tool rather than just our time. Because like I've been asked multiple times, hey, I just got a sales guy. Can you train him and get him good enough so I know it's worthy spending money? And it's just never been a cost-effective use of my time. It's just never been worth it. So once you actually have the ability to have them train with a tool instead of you, I think the advantage on the speed side is insane. Because instead of waiting for the manager, waiting for an outside sales trainer that you paid a bunch of money, you just have a tool that you can plug them into that will score and determine how well they're doing and will tell you, hey, this person is ready now, or hey, this person isn't. Yeah. And it's just wait. You just can see right there. To me, it's almost instantaneous. The question will be, how good are you at implementing what the tool tells you to do? If you can make the implementation as the business owner immediately, the answer is immediately.
Right. So looking at this, someone that's working with us right now, right? Because we have clients all across the country. So right off the bat, someone new starts, right? They get access to the course, right? They get access to the library of all our trainings we've been doing for a long, long time. They get access to us, right? Now they're also getting access to the tool and the role play. It's only as fast as the salesperson can like drink out of a fire hose.
Right.
It's really what it comes down to. How fast can your sales guy drink out of that fire hose? And if they want it bad enough, I say weeks.
I think so, truly.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I say as close to immediate as makes no difference.
Yeah. And then as far as like the practical, as far as like, which tools, which interfaces we work with. So as of yesterday, we can plug directly into smartphone. So like we have multiple clients right now, they're using smartphone. I set them all up last night. All their data is going to the smartphone, is going into our portal right now. Anyone using Fathom, I figured out how to plug it directly into our portal. Anyone using High Level, we can plug it right in. So like everyone that's using those three, they're in. Everyone else, work in progress.
We're still figuring it out a little bit, yeah.
I had no idea when we started this that there are 7 different CRMs for real estate on top of like 5 or 6 different dialers.
Right, yeah, truly.
It's crazy. We've heard of dialers that we didn't.
Yeah, in just the last couple of weeks, I've like,
hey, do you work with this? Like, what is that?
What is it? I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Right?
Sounds like, is that a Latin pop star? What's that?
Yeah. But the incredible blessing, and I've counted my blessings over and over again for all of this. The incredible blessings is that pretty much everyone in this industry, if I need to talk to them, they'll pick up the phone.
True.
Crazy unfair advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then B, someone was asking me like, Steve, how did you guys build this? It's like, it's really simple. Super simple, right? You have the one guy who's obsessed with everything about sales, has a podcast, Close My Sales podcast, obsessed with all things sales. And you just have another guy with almost 20 years of business experience who used to be an engineer. You've got those two things. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Also make sure the sales obsessed guy's been training AI for 2 years and you're good.
You're good.
As long as you got that, you're set to go.
Yeah, and you get opportunity to train the top teams.
Yeah, and you get all that data. You're good to go.
Yeah, so as long as you have those two things, you're good. You're golden. And then the other thing too is we've had other people say like, well, why should we go with you, right? Like there's other companies out there. There's other companies that are building out the AI tools, or they decide to do it internally. What do we say about that?
Do it internally if you like. We just gave an example of why we're a little bit ahead there. In terms of the other companies, the biggest thing I see is that all of these companies are built by tech nerds and we're sales nerds.
Yeah.
The difference there, as I said, is that when you're building the tech product first rather than the sales side first, it might look prettier than ours does in the first week because of the tech side, but ultimately it has to get enough data to give good advice in terms of that. As I said, like my favorite example of this, I used the tool at a startup I was at, very big famous sales calling school. I'll just say it is Gong. It's great. I loved it at the time. I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. One of the things I got as a negative on every single sales call I did when using it was it kept on giving me a bad note for saying the words, I don't know. And I looked, I was like, what did I say? I don't know. Like, as if I didn't know the answer to something. See, the salesperson is lacking critical product knowledge. And I looked in the transcript where it was, and it was me going, let's say you, I don't know, implement this in 2-3 weeks. I was using it in conversation. I was getting negatively scored. That's an example of tech nerds who are data-driven trying to put their advice onto a sales call scoring tool versus engineering it from the get-go to understand emotional sides of language, certainty creation, all the things that we train on that are nuanced around real persuasion and creating self-persuasion within the prospect and how to do that effectively. We're coming from a place of giving it that pre-existing knowledge and then applying data when we already train a bunch of teams that we're already now getting a head start on everyone else. Yeah. So we will have the data and the pre-existing framework. Those tools you just ask anyone. Like, it doesn't give great sales training advice. Right. Ours is it's basically my brain on steroids is how I think about it. It's my brain, everything I've been obsessed about over, which is like, it is a true obsession. I tell you, I'm like, I have an obsessive personality, not an addictive one. And you're like, whatever. But truly, like, I'm obsessed with sales and persuasion. Part of the reason I've gotten more into marketing and copywriting is because it's just another version of persuasion. It's just another way I can put my obsession towards sales or something. I've gotten really good at teaching AI how to understand this stuff and how to give feedback and output that still aligns with that methodology. So to me, it's a matter of like, which did you want to take advice from? A programmer or sales nerd? If you want to figure out how to program better, I can't help you. Right. If you're trying to score your sales calls, I'm fairly confident that me with an AI tool is just me on steroids. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, like we had Adrian Hernandez on the show, and he asked me about like Teslas. Is it a real car? Right. Which is an interesting conversation. But if you look at this, I love my Teslas. I've said this, right? Like, my wife's on her second Tesla, her second Model X. I'm on my second Model 3. Love my Teslas. But make no mistake about it, it is a car built by a tech company.
Right.
I love the car. But it's not a Mercedes.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, you drive a Porsche, drive a Mercedes, drive a BMW. That's a car made by a car company, right? They add tech to it to iterate, to improve, to be a better car company, but it's still a car company. Tesla is a tech company that makes cars. It's fun as hell, but if I want comfort, if I want creature comforts, not going with the Tesla.
Right.
I get it because I like driving crazy, right? That's the only reason why I have it. And so the options then is like, do you want it, kind of like you said, you want a tech company to teach you sales, or do you want a sales company that got better at it using tech?
Yeah. And again, I understand that they're data-driven and that's what they rely on. That is true for other fields besides sales. The reason this is a special point in sales is because, I'll say it again, so many salespeople get deals in spite of what they did, not because of it. And so when you have transcripts of sold deals and feed that to an AI or neural net to learn from that data, it will pick up bad habits. And it's really hard to unlearn bad habits. That's why AI gives bad advice on sales stuff without preconceived instructions on what to give and what not to give. So as a result, it doesn't matter how much data they have. They will need so much more data than they currently have right now to catch up to where we're at. And now that we're including this and getting more data, I think it's just going to be lights out.
Yeah, and I think the cost, right, of not doing this is that every day that goes by is you got a sales rep who's not, more or less AI infused.
For sure.
Right? Every day that goes by, I don't know what that revenue costs for that rep. I don't know how much that's costing you as a company per person. But, every day that goes by, I feel like it's every day you're losing progress.
I'll also say it's so true. Other stuff I've taught this AI, like, it understands if it's not certain about a certain tactic a salesperson used, to wait to judge until it sees the prospect's response. Like, because it has learned to be more humble with tonality because it's missing aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, it actually knows to not give bad advice by default based on just what a salesperson said, because it knows it won't pick up all the tonality. Like, the nuances of that is stuff that is 100% unique to what we have.
Mm-hmm.
I know that is nowhere else.
Yeah.
And so getting that at scale for your company, it's absolutely a game changer.
Yeah. And it's funny, right? Because you talk about other companies. I saw someone do a demo, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, you guys do this? I already built this. Let me show you what I got, right? And I was like, okay, let me see what you got. And he opened it up and he showed me his prompt. And it was like, how would you say this if you were Jordan Belfort? Like, that's the ChatGPT prompt. I was like, wow, okay. That's the competition. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Hilarious.
So so everyone that's listening right now, people that don't want to be left behind, we've created something called the Founders Club. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, part of this is because we are not tech first; we're sales first. We're setting a price point in terms of Founders Club that's a thank you for people taking a leap with us, to invest with us as we grow this thing, as we add more stuff. And so what's so exciting about Founders Club is that we're promising people who get in that as our prices increase inevitably to become more competitive as people are screaming for this, as our costs increase, running more data, running more stuff for AI, you stay locked in as a thank you for it. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the things that I'm very proud to be able to offer to people because of how powerful it is, that I know what this would be worth if this was being charged for mm-hmm. one of these other big dogs. And for us to be able to lock people in at such a lower rate is insane.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what we're charging compared to other companies, their setup fees. Actually, less than their setup fees.
It's less than their setup fees.
What we're charging is less than other companies' setup fees, let alone their monthly fees, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing this because I want, for the people that we're working with, to grant them the superpowers and just obliterate everybody.
Yeah.
We're just going to...
We're in the growth market share mode. As a result, if you hop on now, you get it for less. There's that too.
And you'll also be on the growth
yes.
field because you're going to be gobbling the competition.
Exactly.
Right? Like, again, like Grant in Dallas, right? Like, they're already using it right now every single day.
Yeah. And I've got people I train who tell me they put every call through it. They're like, the free tool. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
So if you guys are listening right now and thinking, like, I can't afford to be left behind, right? Because this is about not just the price. It's not about the price. It's not just about the money. It's also the timing, right? Like, you get this before everyone else. Because this is the first time we're really talking about this publicly, loudly about it.
Definitely.
I've posted it on Facebook. I posted this on Instagram. But I haven't really been screaming about it from the mountaintops because we had something that was conceptually there. We now have something that people are actively using every single day.
And raving about.
So if you think you feel like you can't get left behind, what I would suggest, right, is go on to objectionproof.ai, right? Objectionproof.ai. Just use it. Use the free version, which we haven't really talked about. We have a free version.
Yeah, we just get like, other people are like, why are you not charging for just this? It's like, we're giving this for free. Yeah.
Because we want you to see it's night and day. Like, there are other companies out there say they have something. We want you to see you can't even compare what we offer with everyone else. So you get it for free, right? So check that out. It's everything else we talked about as far as the self-managing sales team that you want to check out the Founders Club. So go to objectionproof.ai, try the free tool. Once you've tried it and you love it, because we know you will, then at that point, book a call, talk to our team. Anything else you want to add to that?
I just think this is it is the most exciting time because eventually this is just going to be the gold standard. Mm-hmm. So the people that are taking action now, get in before that gets started. Mm-hmm. It's buying Bitcoin when it's $1, basically, is how I think about it. Yeah.
If you're using this could be your opportunity to catch up to everyone else before they use it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about the future, right? So where do we see the landscape with AI in sales?
I think it's going to be an inevitability that it's included in every way, shape, or form. I don't know. I get asked all the time, like, why train salespeople? Because I think AI will be calling to sell. Maybe. I also just think regulation is going to come and destroy that for most business to consumers experience, and probably business to business as well. Like, people want to talk to someone. So the more important aspect will be, how does it not touch? It's like the only thing I think it might not do is that the salesperson still has to have most of the conversations. Everything else will be touched by AI. How they're trained, how they're onboarded, how the calls are scored, how the leads are sorted, how they're prioritized, how the notes are taken, how the follow-up sequence is set up, how the salesperson's driving route is. Everything is going to be AI. The only thing the salesperson has to do is show up and do what it's been trained to do.
Yeah. I mean, you look at lead scoring, right? Like, we haven't even talked about that, but we're going to be scoring the leads so that we know, like, if you follow the sales process and this is what happened, now we know, like, hey, here's a good lead, here's not a good lead.
Yep.
Having the rhythms, knowing, like, hey, given what this conversation was, this should be a 3-week call or a 2-week call or a 2-month call. I think that AI can do just about everything except sales.
The actual sale.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it could do the inside sales.
It probably could do most of it.
Right. I think it could we're probably 12 months away from being able to do the inside sales. So if you guys are in inside sales, I'm sorry. I think we're probably 12 months away from that. But to do the outside sales, the biggest gap AI has is that it has all the knowledge. It doesn't have the inventiveness.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the imagination, right? And it's doing pretty good. It's making movies and whatever, but it's like, who knows where it's going? It's hallucinating. Like, I was doing a demo yesterday with a client, and they're like, well, can it do this, this, and this? Just like, look, when AI doesn't have the answer, it sounds like a drunk 8-year-old, right? Like, we don't know what it's going to say when it doesn't have a reference point.
Yeah.
When it has a reference point, it's pretty damn smart.
Yeah, it's really good.
If it doesn't have a reference point, that's where the imagination comes in. So I think, it's going to replace a lot of roles. I think a salesperson is still be absolutely key. And I think there's going to be people have complained about this, is that we're a country of haves and have-nots. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is, a generalization, right? I think it's going to be like, do you have AI or you're out of business?
I completely agree.
I don't think there's any other way, right? And so I'm just excited that we're able to, take the lead on this, because remember, like, in our annual meetings or quarterly meetings, like, what's going to happen? Like, what's the greatest threat? It's like, AI is going to take our business.
I think so. Yeah.
So who better than to disrupt the sales industry than us? So let's see here. Did we cover anything else that we're going to be working on? We've talked about the role play. We talked about the interview. We talked about the follow up, right? Oh, I guess the last thing that we haven't really talked about is what I'm also excited, because like, I was talking about how Tesla doesn't make real cars, right? We talked about that, but the competitive advantage Tesla does have is it has more data than anybody else, right? What I'm excited to see is we're not going to have how is Ian doing against the other salespeople. We're going to have how is this company doing against this company, because I am categorizing in there what industry everyone's in.
Yep.
And one of the categories is wholesale. So we're going to have in there, hey, here's what the wholesale companies are doing as far as scoring wise, and we're going to be attaching revenue. Because it's not going to be like, here's what Ian's theorized. This is the best sales practice.
We'll have real data.
It's not going to, here's what Steve's theorized. It's not going to be what some other guys theorized this is best sales practice. Or, this industry, a lot of mavericks, right? Forget what they said. This is the best way. We're going to have real data.
Yeah.
And we're going to say, here is what it takes to win in sales. So we're going to say, like, we're going to see average revenue, and we're going to look at how they're doing, and we're going to re-weight all the categories. But now you can see, like, how does, we buy AZ Homes in Phoenix compared to maybe Eric Brewer's team in York, Pennsylvania, compared to Phil Green's team in San Diego. We're going to be able to compare side by side. How does my average sales guy compare against his average sales guy? Not just in production, which we'll have, but also in quality of sales conversations. And once you have that, now you're going to know like where we're falling short and how we can improve there as well.
Definitely.
So again, guys, if you want to check it out, Objection Proof AI. Again, we have a tool for free. It has the script review. It has the role play bot up there. It's still the first iteration is still there. That's what the other
Okay.
using.
All right.
Still the role play bot. So that's there right now. Objection Proof AI. Like I said, check it out. You can upload a transcript. You can upload a text file. You can upload a WAV file and an MP4. Can't really make it any easier for you.
Go try it out for free. Seriously.
Yeah. And then once you try it out, and you think this would be good for your team, then schedule a call, talk to the team. So thanks a lot. Thanks. I think this is good. This is super exciting what we're going to do, disrupting the sales industry. So I'll see you guys later. See you guys next time. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for watching.